Benefits, should they be slashed? The Chancellor singled out welfare spending in the cuts the Treasury put to the Office for Budget Responsibility yesterday. And the key phrase is she's run out of fiscal headroom. We're going to have a look at what this means right now. So, what do we mean when we say Rachel Reeves, is the key phrase, has headroom? What is headroom when you're the Chancellor? We've got a little steampunk headroom illustrator here, the Channel 5 headroom illustrator, which will help us understand it. So the Chancellor will go into this part of it. There, Chancellor. And this bit here, that is how much she's got to play with, how much money she's got to spend. That's what headroom is. So we can, because she really thought she had more than she actually has. And this is why we've got this whole debate about the benefits. So put on the headroom illustrator onto the Chancellor. Thank you so much. And let's look at the calculation. The steam comes out as we just work out how much headroom, free money she thought she had. And with a rumble, it gives us the answer. And it is 9.9 billion. Here's the problem. She thought she had it. It's been crushed. It's been taken away. And I'm now going to introduce you to my colleague who's editing the show. Ellie, the editor of today's show, has the scoop on it. Ellie, where's this headroom gone? Where's the money gone?
Just read your emails.
Have you emailed me about it?
Yes, several times.
Yeah, well, I didn't read my email because she sent me this last night. So here we go. This is very efficient from Ellie. After Reeves's autumn budget, the OBR said she had 9.9, but actually it's gone. It's been crushed, as we saw. 3 reasons: inflation, trade tariffs, and higher borrowing costs in the UK. So, Carolyn, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's not spare money anyways, it's borrowed money, but it's money you would have been able to borrow, basically. And you can't.
No, we can't. And we've got to do something about it.
And you've got to slash benefits.
Well, we did come into government with over 9.3 working age people actually claiming a benefit. Very many of those, I've got the figures here, 2.8 million on long-term sick. And the number of people claiming benefits with no requirement to work has tripled.
So we're at did you say 9.3 million claiming...
Working age, were out of work and not looking for work. And that's the problem.
That's too much.
And there's a lot of people on long-term sick who are not looking for work. And there are nearly 3 million people, which has tripled since 2019, with no requirement to look for work. Now, as an advocate who understands that work is good for you and work does pay and work is good for the economy, then we really need to get a grip on a welfare system, which up until now has allowed people not to need to work. And what we need to do is put in place systems to support people back into work, to provide them with the resource and the training and the healthcare to get them back into work so that they then can actually be
But that all costs more money. But I mean, in the end, you're going to have to...
But it's money spent to cut the welfare budget.
You haven't got any money. I mean, that's the point. You just got to cut... You're going to have to cut the benefits first and then expect them to get out the front door and work.
The money's already been invested in getting people back into work. So we've got to make that system work and then reduce the benefit, which we need to reduce.
There's something fishy going on. And, I think maybe all political parties agree. We've had a massive increase since COVID, 25% increase in people who are too ill to work. Can you explain it, Tim?
Something happened during the COVID period in particular, where all sorts of people got used to working from home or just not being at work. Now, some of these, I had some mental health problems during lockdown. I appreciate that for a lot of people, this is a real thing. But I think what Carolyn said is really important, actually. There's a lot of people who are currently off work. They probably need help to get back into work. They haven't got someone in their corner. They feel, whatever reason, sort of demoralised. But actually, they shouldn't. They're not the sort of people that shouldn't be at work. They've got all the skills. They just need help to get... But you're right, Jeremy. This isn't cheap. To have someone in someone's corner, getting them off benefits... isn't an easy thing.
Well, it may just be cheaper to pay the benefit.
But it's an investment.
But just when we talk about slashing benefits, I think it's important we get it right. I don't think Labour and I don't think the opposition party talk about slashing the benefits of individual people. What it is getting the number of people who are on benefits.
And we're the only country that has got this problem. We're the only major economy which hasn't recovered after the
Well,
pandemic.
this is why I say there's something fishy going on. Joe is in Sheffield. Joe, what do you think the government needs to do here?
Hello, morning everyone. I've been a bit blindsided by my list of bullet points, sorry, because Carolyn's just thrown a bit of a blinder at me. Number one, where do people magic up references from?
So in other words, if you're out of work, you can't get back into work?
Of course you can't. You cannot magic up a reference. Number two, the amount of evidence that you have to show these days, the people that criticise people on benefits have never looked at a PIP form or an ESA form or the whole list of evidence that you've got to provide to get the meagre scrapings of money.
Get the bullet points for a second. Tell us about you, Joe. Are you on benefits yourself?
I am now. I was an English teacher for 15 years.
Right. And did you lose work through illness or what? What happened?
It was nothing to do with teaching, as in it was nothing to do with the teenagers, no way. Absolutely loved them. Just one day, I had just an absolute, completely out of the blue. Well, I thought it was out of the blue. My friends say in hindsight maybe it wasn't, but a complete nervous breakdown. I don't even remember, about 3 days.
Well, that's a really serious thing, and mental illness at the extreme end is very, very real.
Then I got diagnosed with a long-term mental health condition, which they say I've probably had since being early teenager.
And what's that? What's that condition?
Borderline personality disorder.
I see. But
it's one of those nature nurture things.
Yeah. No, I know all about it. Yeah. Oh, I'm really sorry. But you can. But the government is going to say you can work, aren't they? That's where we're going with this.
Who knows, Jeremy? That's the point. Carolyn, you've missed this. The fact that you're saying that strategies to get people back into work. That is a good idea. That is a really good idea. That isn't going to help the people that are on waiting lists for, if it's a physical health, which mine is now, mental health has turned into a physical health because of lack of therapy.
And what happens if they stop paying your benefits, Joe?
I'll lose my home, Jeremy. Sorry, I put bullet points down so I didn't get upset. I'm going to lose my home. And I think what's incredibly worrying is about the risk of self-harm in the variety of different ways. I think that because people have been left so unsure, this is well documented by disability charities and things, that people's anxiety, depression, stress, etc. has risen hugely because people are left completely not knowing what on earth is going to happen to them.
Okay.
And I'm scared about suicide risk, to be
I
quite
understand.
honest.
I understand.
There's so many people.
Thank you for calling, and we're thinking of you, and it's not personal to you, this, and we're grateful to you for your time, Joe, and all the best. Good luck. Mental illness is serious, and we just have a lot of people with it. Jean in Dorset, hi. You used to be a benefits, supervisor?
I used to be a benefits supervisor, advisor and trainer for a national charity. When we see the massive jump in people on benefits because they're too ill to work, I say it looks fishy. It looks fishy because there's no explanation. What do you think the explanation is? Well, I can only tell you what I know, and unfortunately, I can't unknow what I know. I think a slashing of benefits is well overdue.
Right.
And please don't think that I mean that for everyone. Of course, there's always going to be genuine claimants. But this over-generous benefit system, which has been allowed to develop in this country, has meant that for many, it has become a lifestyle choice. Plenty of benefit claimants are swinging the ledge. Many aren't, but many are. And those need to be sorted out, and they do need to have those benefits slashed. As I said to your researcher, my concern is that if Rachel Reeves takes the axe to slashing benefits, yet again she may go for the easy target. And I'm thinking elderly people who are on attendance allowance, or those younger people who are genuinely incapacitated. And if I can just say one thing.
Sure.
Your previous caller, Joe, sympathies for her situation, that, with all due respect, I believe she is a classic case of being able to work because she did come across as being extremely eloquent on the telephone. So I am sure that there is some work available for her out there which she could do.
Well, it's very interesting you mentioned that, and it did cross my mind that we're having a fantastic conversation with Jo. She's extremely eloquent. She's got her bullet points, and there are lots of jobs you can do if you can do that. But I don't know whether she has good days and bad days and so on, and I don't want to pry. And
that's where the holistic approach comes in, that we look at the mental health aspect, we look at the welfare, we look at what support we can give to get people like Jo. And my heart goes out to Jo. And I've met a lot of people like Jo who think that they can't work, but when they're given the right support, they find that they can work.
But also Jo's life.
It's partly about education of employers, because you're completely right, Jeremy. People do have good days and bad days. When I was in my recovery phase, I really went through that. I really had bad days. But I was fortunate in my employer. They understood that. They had that background knowledge of me, that they knew I wasn't a malingerer, and they gave me time to fully recover.
And you can recover from depression, right?
Is a really important part of this.
In 2010.
Well, there we are. Thank you, Jean. More calls after the breaks. Whether benefit, they're going to have to do something big here because they've run out of money already. So they're going to take the axe to benefits, but where? Where do they go? Let's have some more calls, though, on the government and benefits, and they've basically not got the money they thought they had. They're going to have to do some axe work here. David in Kent, can they do it? Are we paying too much out in benefits?
Good morning, Jeremy Vine. Oh, what a wonderful place to be when you're on JVTV. Now, back to seriousness.
Let's just scissor that out as a jingle. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. JV, our Donald Trump. Oh, no, not really.
No, quite, sir, not quite.
No,
it's a terrible thing.
Well, they're going to be the trouble, wouldn't they, the government? I've been Labour all my life. No more, Mr Starmer. Thank you very much for letting me down. Now then, let's get to seriousness here. Number one, I'm very scared they're going to target the wrong people if they cut benefits, the people who really, really need these benefits. Number two, I know where to get the money from. It's simple. Number one, you delay this clean power business, Ed Miliband, you delay him by 10 years, you use that money. Number two, you stop giving this money to the migrants who are coming over here in hotels every day. Every day, it's costing us £6-8 million a day. Well, there's your money. Now, if you put foot soldiers in Ukraine, in Russia, it'd be our British boys on the ground. These people coming over here, they won't fight for our country. They won't fight for their country, but they're
not trained soldiers, but yeah. Well, hang on. So you would say keep benefits as they are. Do you claim benefits, out of work benefits or in work benefits, David?
No, I'm an old age pensioner, mate. I'm 66.
So you're on a pension, state pension, which you've bought and paid for. So there is a worry that they'll come for the old people. That's because they've done that before.
Yeah, and they will come for the old people and this is the trouble. It seems that this government are not looking after their own people. They're giving it to other people who shouldn't be here and they don't deserve it.
Okay, David.
They get British citizenship and then they go on the dole anyway.
Thank you very much, indeed. Thank you for your call. Love the call. And doesn't sound like a pensioner. That's a young spirit there.
It was Mike Yarwood.
Well, I haven't heard of Frank Spencer.
Talking about Mike Yarwood.
Frank Spencer, we haven't heard for so long. Stephen Inverness, you used to be in the very department we're talking about, the Work and Pensions Department, correct?
That is correct, Jeremy. I was 42 years in the Department of Social Security under its many guises, so I think I have some informed opinion on this. Would you like me to make my point?
Yes, well, absolutely. You sound like the man to talk to.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm very much in agreement with all of your previous callers and the two panellists. My experience, as I've seen it in the Social Security Department, I worked for 20 years paying benefits and then another 20 years stopping benefits and fraud and compliance. One of the things I noticed is that broadly, in my early days, when people claimed benefit on the grounds of sickness, it was usually a physical ailment, backache,
always
or
the
broken
back.
bones.
Always the back, yeah.
Yeah, all things of that nature. Then later on, people started to claim on the grounds of mental health with serious conditions like schizophrenia and psychosis, again, serious conditions. But then it began to come down to depression and anxiety. Now, I know that those illnesses are serious, they're nasty. I've experienced it to a certain extent, but they do not necessarily stop people from working.
Well, people can have various levels of anxiety. Many people work with anxiety. Many people work with depression. But so we've gone from the bad back to the bad brain, essentially. That's the journey we've been on?
Yeah, that's true. But my point is this: if we're going to cut the benefit bill, most of it is on the sickness area. We have to raise the bar, and this sounds harsh. We have to raise the bar at the point of entry. And I think that's the major problem that we have now. I'm not saying it's easy to claim benefit, but I'm saying that the conditions of receiving benefit on the grounds of ill health have become a little bit too lax.
Understood. Thank you. You've made your point. Thank you so much. Sorry, I've got to move on. Carl in Glamorgan, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Do you think the government, let's say they zero in on these sickness benefits, which have risen for reasons we don't really understand. Is that the wrong target?
It's completely the wrong target, because the first thing we need to look at is the money situation. We keep saying that we're the fifth largest economy, etc. We all know that's London-centric. We all know that's down to London finance centres, while the rest of the country, the north, South Wales, North Wales, we're all struggling. We can't afford to eat. We can't afford to pay energy bills. We don't put out eating on, things like that. Now, this is working people who are also having benefits to top up salaries because they're underpaid, because the salaries do not cover the cost of living for the ordinary working man.
But how do you deal with it? Because you're not given an answer to it yet.
Well, this is my next point. Let's have a look at Lord's attendance allowance for turning up and leaving after the coffee, MP's expenses. We got companies like Amazon in Europe alone. They can earn over 40 million pounds, up to 50 million pounds. It keeps increasing as shops close.
Let's ask this, Carolyn. Hang on, Carl. I want to put your point to Carolyn. You pick on the wrong people. You pick on the weak. You don't go and tax Amazon.
Well, I mean, there has been an issue with Amazon.
Starbucks, Amazon, all that lot.
Yeah, but to Carl's point, the money for the benefit system is a money in a pot. If the money's not there, we've got to find a way of making what we have got work. And I go back to what I say, that if people are claiming a benefit and they're not looking for work and they're not attempting to look for work, we need to give them the support to encourage them to go back into work so they help to pay into the welfare system.
That's more expensive.
Yeah.
We're just going to have to stop the benefits, though, aren't we? Because giving them the support involves spending more money initially. And
but it's investing to gain.
You don't have the money. I don't know what the solution is. Thank you so much, Carl. Thanks to Stephen Inverness as well, particularly for your insight. Later we'll ask if kids should be allowed to quit school at 14. The Scottish...